Hello, Summer Institute. This is Steve again for my second screencast. So today what I'm going to do is show you my finished Asteroids game and talk about that just a little bit, everything that went into making it. So the point of making this game is it's going to be the first project that my students are going to have to do in my programming class. I'm making it right now over the summer so that it's fresh in my head and I know where everything goes, I know how to build it, I know all the code. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to come back and I'm going to remake this project, but I'm going to make it using YouTube. So I'm going to make little 30-minute YouTube clips and I'm going to walk through every single step that I do so that the students in class are going to be able to watch my videos off my wiki and they'll be able to do that portion, for that day. They'll be able to do that part of the project by watching the videos, and then that allows me to walk around the lab and give individual attention to each student because I'm not up, in the front of the room lecturing. They're already watching my lecture individually. So I think it's going to make the class really smooth. It's going to allow me to help out students more, and I just think it's going to work out pretty good that way. So again, I made the game now. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to make some YouTube videos. I'm going to go back and remake the game using YouTube videos. So hopefully that'll be really good. I'm pretty excited about that. So let me show you what the game looks like right now. So it's an Asteroids knockoff. I really haven't made a snazzy name for it. I'm just going to call it Asteroids knockoff for now. And let me talk about some of the things that are going on here. Everything that happens in this game has some sort of programming behind it. So nothing just happens on its own. So these asteroids, for instance, each asteroid, when the game starts, I have a random amount of asteroids that get generated. I have to say where they go. So each one has a random coordinate that I've made, and this is all through scripting. So each asteroid has a random coordinate, and then you notice they're all spinning differently. So I have a random rotation that I throw in there for each asteroid, and then I give each one a random velocity as well. So you'll see some are moving faster than others, and they're all moving, in different directions. So again, all of this has to be laid out before the game even starts. There's collision detections, which I'm about to show you. So if I shoot a bullet, it'll collision detect with the asteroid. When that happens, some code fires off. And so if a bullet collides with an asteroid, what I do is I remove the asteroid, the big one, and then I replace it with 3 of the smaller asteroids. So that it'll give the appearance of blowing up into small pieces. These 3 small asteroids, again, I'm going to give a random rotation and a random velocity. So it looks like they're kind of exploding from the big asteroid. So you'll see that happen here also. And even, down to the details of the bullets. Every time I shoot a bullet, I have to generate a bullet. I have to give it a velocity that matches the direction that the ship is facing. And then I have to keep track of that bullet. After a certain amount of time, I need that bullet to time out so that the computer's not keeping track of, thousands and thousands of bullets, which would cause the computer to crash, actually. So, again, there's just all kinds of stuff going on. You'll see some particle effects. That's with my ship right there. I got some particle effects. There's a particle effect generator that I'm using within Game Maker to do that. And also notice the shield bar up there. I can use my shield right here. Whoops. That was not my shield. That was my gun. There's my shield. And you'll see that my shield drains whenever I use it, the shield bar there, and it slowly fills up. The shield makes me invulnerable to asteroids, but you only have, you can only use it for so long. Oh, there I die. There's a collision detection right there. So, that's some of the stuff that's going on. Let me blow up some asteroids and kind of just show you how it plays. Also, notice the score increments as well. So, I think this game's pretty fun, actually. And I got some bugs I got to work out. You'll notice whenever the asteroids collide that there's some weird glitches with it. So I got 700 that time. Let me try, I can do better than that. Notice my ship goes off one end of the screen and appears on the other end of the screen. I talked about that in my last video. So I can go off the left end and appear on the right end in true asteroids fashion. In the real game, you probably don't want to be able to have this many bullets because it's kind of a little cheating that I can just shoot this many. Oh, but I died. But I think I got a high score. So there's my game anyways. That's what the students are going to make initially. And then, of course, I'm not going to be happy with just that. The students are going to have to expand on that. For any project that I have them do in this class, I'm going to give them the basic project done, and then I expect them to show me with what they've learned some way to expand that project, add to it. So that's that. Let me show you just a couple pieces of code here that kind of go along with it. So here is an object that I have placed in the room, so I call it object room code. Basically it's the controller for the game, and here's where I generate my asteroids. So here's this code right here, and up at the top I have how many asteroids I'm going to make, and just some base things like the score and what charge my shield is at. But right here is where I create my asteroids, and that's what I just want to look at. This is a for loop, and I have basically looping for the amount of asteroids that there is. Here's asteroid number. I set that at 6, so if I want the game to be more difficult, let's say if you finish the first level and you're going to go to the next level, you could increase that number so that you're going to have more asteroids to start off with. And so I loop that many times, and right here I'm creating an instance of the asteroids, and right here you'll see my X and Y coordinates. And what I'm doing is I'm picking a random number. So this will give me a random number from 0 to 1,000 roughly. And this right here will give me a random number from 0 to 760. So that's going to put it within the screen. So the screen again is I think 768 pixels tall and 1,024 pixels wide, I believe. Maybe it's 1,080 pixels wide. But that's basically going to place the asteroid anywhere within that range 6 times. And then here is the object for the asteroid, the big one right there. So that's kind of what's happening in here. That's how all the asteroids get there. Now, how do they have their individual velocities? Well, each asteroid that gets created is of asteroid object. And we get my asteroid here. So when my asteroid gets created, right here you'll see that I have a random sprite number. Remember, I made 3 of those different big asteroid sprites. So this will pick a random looking asteroid to apply that sprite to it. It's going to give a random rotation, and so here's my rotation and my rotation angle. And then it's going to give it a random direction right here. So you see here I have a random number from 0 to 359. So any direction possible it can go. And then here's my speed. So I have here I have some if statements. So if sprite number is 0, then use this sprite, my first sprite. If the sprite number is 1, use the second sprite. If the sprite number is 3, use the third sprite. So basically up here I generate a random sprite number. Down here in these if-else statements, I apply the particular sprite to the asteroid object so that it looks like it. And then lastly down here I add that motion. So here's my direction and here's my speed. So there's where my velocity comes from. So in the last piece of code, I generate the asteroids, give them positions, and then as each asteroid is generated, this code runs, applying a sprite to it, and also applying a random velocity and speed. So that's how all of that works. That's just the asteroids right there. So as you can see, every little piece in the game has a lot of stuff behind it. So here's collision events for the asteroid, for instance, and so right here is a collision event if a bullet hits the asteroid. And you'll see right here, what I do is I'm incrementing the score, because you hit an asteroid, so you get 100 points. And then I am deciding how many small asteroids will come out of here. So I'm making a small asteroid number, and I use a random number from 0 to 3 is what this is going to give me, but then I add 2 on the end, so it's going to be from 2 to 5. This 2 on the end allows my random number to have a minimum value. I want at least 2 little asteroids coming out of it. And then I'm going to loop through that number that I just generated. So here's a for loop. And kind of like the big asteroids, I'm going to create a small asteroid, except I'm going to put it within 10 pixels of the asteroid that blew up. So I'm doing that, generating these small ones. I'm playing a sound of the explosion. I'm creating an explosion particle, and then I'm destroying the original asteroid. So there's the code for that. So I'm not going to go into all the code, obviously. It would take a very long time, but I just want to show you a couple pieces of the code behind the game, what it looks like. And I think I'll end there for today. My next screencast, I'm going to try to have one of my first tutorials that I'll be showing to the students done for the project. And I'll probably have that as my next screencast. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. So anyways, hope you guys are having a really fantastic summer, and I am stopping